Right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I know there's people joining us all over the place, so welcome again to London and to number 6 of 8 of these sessions. If you're just joining us now for the first time, you can do two things. You can either approach this session with a very open mind and fully commit to it, or you can go back, because this session is all practice, basically. And in fact, the next session, session 7, will also be all practice too. And the last session, session 8, will be kind of more of a Q&A thing where we get some discussion going. So you can do two things. You can either stay here with us and do some practice and get involved, or you can go back and do session 1, session 2, session 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 5, and build up to this point, which might be better for you, because then you can see the science and the neuroscience and all the stuff behind it. Anyway, let's do all the things we do. Let's get our mobile phones switched off, and let's make sure you won't really need a pad today, but you might want to write down a couple of things. First of all, the pause, which is what we're going to do right now. So I'm just going to move this out of the way here for a sec. Okay, so let's just do this little pause. We do this every time before we start, so we'll do it right now. If you get yourself into a position that you get into when you meditate, put your hands nice and flat on your thighs like that. Get your feet nice and flat on the floor. Get your eyes closed and use that act of closing your eyes to kind of bring your attention inside yourself a little bit. Breathe in through your nose and then really allow your breath to lengthen, and allow your breath to deepen, and allow your breath to slow. Really let your breath do its thing. You'll find that in this seated position you need very little of it, in fact, so just let it do its thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can focus all of our attention and all of our awareness on our breathing, really observing it coming into the boundaries of our body and really observing it exiting the boundaries of our body. And we'll see if we can hold that focus and attention for 60 seconds. And if you get distracted by maybe the urge to giggle, or a thought, or a memory, or a feeling, or a sound inside the room, or a sound outside the room, or pain in the body, anything, don't fight the distraction. That's the trick. You don't fight the distraction. You allow yourself to be distracted long enough for you to note what you're being distracted by, and then bring your attention back to your breathing. That is meditation, the singular focus and the bringing back of your attention. Okay? So here we go. We'll do this nice 60 seconds. I'll do it with you. Just see if you can allow your focus to fall on your breathing for 60 seconds. So here we go. I'll time 60 seconds right here. Here we go. Okay, if you could just allow yourself to come back to clock time. You can wiggle your fingers, you can wiggle your toes, you can come back quick, you can come back slow. There's no rush here. And right, I mean, literally we're going to go into the next practice. You might want to write this down. That practice we just did is called the pause, and the practice we're about to do is called the cinema inside, or just cinema inside. If you haven't bought the CD yet, you might find it useful. If you like guided practices, you'll find all the practices we do on that CD, and then you can use that daily to help you with your daily practice. So this one's called the cinema inside, or cinema inside. Just want to say a couple of things about it first of all. It's a scenario. So some people like scenarios, some people don't. If you're one of those people who don't like scenarios, try and see if you can use it to your advantage. It's more of a framework really to facilitate something, and you'll see what that thing is pretty quickly. So it's something we're all very familiar with doing. I'll tell you right up front as well that the ultimate goal is to leave you sort of sitting inside a cinema in your head, looking at a blank screen, just quietly breathing. Okay, so if you find you get there sooner, then don't worry, you can kind of tune me out. As I'll always say the same thing at the end of every practice. I'll always say you can wiggle your fingers, you can wiggle your toes, you can come back quick, you can come back slow. So you'll always know when a practice is ending. So let's just do it. Let's get right stuck into it, the cinema inside. So again, get yourself into that position you get into when you meditate. Get some points of contact going. Get your feet nice and flat on the floor. Remember, you're using your physiology as a point of focus. It's a very old school kind of meditation and one that's used very, very often in the world of mindfulness. So come inside yourself. Allow your eyes to close down a little bit again, and allow that act of your eyes closing again to kind of bring your focus inside. Again, breathe in through your nose. The reason we do that is there's a nerve in your nose that's connected directly to your heart. So it's the easiest way for you to become instantly physiologically aware of your breathing. And again, just check in on those points of contact, maybe your bum on the seat, where that feels, your hands on your thighs, your feet on the floor. And again, allow your breathing to do its thing, allow it to lengthen, and allow it to deepen, and allow it to slow. Maybe just check in with the way, your arms just dangle like they do. Maybe the way your head just kind of stands up like it is. Maybe the way the air is kind of circulating around your body. And when you feel kind of comfortable, when you feel kind of relaxed, in your mind's eye, I want you to picture your favorite cinema. And if you suddenly got 100 different cinemas racing through your head, just pick the first one that came in, just for the sake of speed. Once you've sort of pictured that first cinema that you thought of, I want you to really run all the things that you usually run when you go to the cinema. Just run that whole scenario. Buy your ticket. Once you've bought the ticket, maybe go to the concession stand and get what you usually get from the concession stand: popcorn, drinks, hot dogs, sweets, whatever it is that you usually buy when you usually go to the cinema. And once you've finished at the concession stand, I'd like you to walk over to the auditorium, but this time, when you hand your ticket to the usher, I want you to notice something slightly different. As you hand your ticket to the usher and walk into the auditorium, just notice that you're walking into an auditorium that's kind of inside your head. So you sort of picture that, just walking into an auditorium kind of inside your head. And once you've found yourself inside, just get your favorite seat. Find where your favorite seat is and sit down and take off your coat or kick off your shoes or get out your food, whatever it is that you usually do when you usually go to the movies. And just take a moment to acknowledge perhaps the distance between you and the screen. And when you feel kind of comfortable, when you feel relaxed, allow your attention to be distracted by the screen flickering on. And as opposed to that first exercise we did, I want you to just allow your thoughts to come, to literally allow them to come, allow them to exist long enough to note what they are. And then once you've noted what they are, let them go, and then let the next thought come. Now don't worry if you don't have your thoughts really specifically on the screen. Not everybody does that, so don't worry if they don't really sit on the screen. Some of you will, and some of you won't. Just see if you can let them come one by one, let them exist long enough to note what they are. And once you've noted what they are, let them go, and then let the next thought come in. Just allow them to go one by one across the screen or wherever it is that you see them. And I'll time another 60 seconds, and then after that we'll try a little something extra. So here we go. I'll do it with you. Another 60 seconds. Here we go. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is to notice that just as one thought ends, and just before another thought begins, there's this little gap, there's this little space that exists. What we'll do is we'll do another 60-second break and see if you can allow your thoughts to slow down to the extent that that gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And see if you can allow your thoughts to slow down to the extent that that gap itself winds up being all you're looking at. So we'll do another 60 seconds, and I'll do it with you. And just allow your thoughts to slow. Allow them to slow to the extent that that gap just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so here we go, another 60 seconds. Here we go. Okay, so if you could allow the credits to roll up on the screen there and let yourself out of the chair and out of the auditorium, by all means thank anyone you want to thank outside or inside the cinema, and when you do come outside, bring yourself back to clock time, bring yourself back to the room. You can wiggle your fingers, you can wiggle your toes, you can come back quick, you can come back slow. There's no rush here. And so I want to say a couple of things. I know that we're coming up to our 15 minutes here, so I'm just going to say a couple of things. First thing is that some of you, when I said allow all your thoughts to come, some of you, perhaps even quite a few of you, will have experienced your mind going completely blank. That's actually a really nice little kind of reverse psychology thing you've got going on there. So you might find that really works for you when you meditate. You might find, when you do your morning meditation, you can literally sit down and say, right, I'm going to have all my thoughts right now, and your mind just might clear out like that, and you might find you're in that kind of quiet, sort of still spot very quickly. And everyone, that won't necessarily have helped everyone, but some of you who found your minds quite busy with the first exercise, that particular exercise will have helped you. And if it resonates with you in any way, remember the name of it, Cinema Inside. And you can use that. It's about 8 minutes long, usually about 7 to 8 minutes long. And that's actually quite a good one. It's actually very useful for sleep. It's one of those ones you can do before you go to sleep. You can actually clear out your thoughts like that, and you can use the the exiting of the cinema or the auditorium as to be the exiting of your consciousness as well. You can kind of work it like that. It's sort of up to you how you do it. Anyway, that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you very much again for coming. Once again, it's very, very humbling to do this, and I really love doing it. And I really love your comments as well, so do keep your comments coming in. Remember to start checking your microphones. And next week is all practice. It's one practice, one long practice. So we're going to get one 15-minute practice. We're going to do it right off the bat. And then the week after, we'll do the sort of questions and feedback and talking, okay? So I'm looking forward to that very much. So once again, thank you. And I hope to see you next week. And spread the word. If you think this is useful, then share the link with people and try and get them to start at the beginning and go through as many of you have. Okay? Thanks very much. Take care and bye-bye.